Okay, so we are continuing with our course. Just a second. So we are continuing with our course EC 469 optoelectronic devices, and we are looking at module number 2. Basically, it is about lasers. In this class, we are going to derive the Einstein relations. Okay, so the Einstein relations relates absorption, spontaneous emission, and stimulated emission. So we have described physically what each of this is, but we haven't done any kind of a mathematical analysis or proof or kind of an equation in which we can relate all these things. So this is done by Albert Einstein. Okay, so let's start with the very basic stuff. Assume that there are two energy states. One is E2, which is of high energy, and another is of E1, which is of low energy. Let N1 be the N2 be the population or population density in energy state E2, and let N1 be the population density in energy state E1. Okay, so in semiconductors, the E2 can be the conduction band and E1 can be the valence band. But here we are just looking at the like a normal atom. Okay, and so by Boltzmann's relation, so this is a equation given by Boltzmann. He says that N2 is equal to G suffix D2 e raised to minus E2 by KT. Okay. Now N2 is basically the density or population, which is like number of charge carriers per unit volume. Okay. And N1 is number of charge carriers per unit volume at energy state E1. Okay. And GD2 is called as degenerative or degenerate energy level. Okay, I'll explain in a minute what that is. Similar to N2, we can give N1 is equal to GD1 e raised to minus E1 by KT. Okay, so GD2 is degenerate energy level at energy level E2, and GD1 is degenerate energy level at E1. Okay, so let me explain what a degenerate energy level is. So degenerate energy level means basically they are the sub energy levels within E1 or E2. Okay, so we say GD2 as degenerate energy level of E2, which means there are sub energy levels in E2, which means it has almost the same energy as that of E2, but it and charge carriers occupying that energy level can have a different quantum number. So it's mostly related to quantum physics. So let's say this is E2. Okay, I can have sub energy levels in E2. Okay, and the charge carriers can sit in this sub energy levels. So basically, it is the same energy, but they sit in different sub energy levels. Basically, this has like a spin. There's a spin quantum number, right? So the spin might be different, or this the other two can have a different quantum number. Okay, but the energy remains the same, but the quantum numbers can be different. Okay, so this is called as a degenerative energy level, which means that you are having an energy level or energy level within another energy level, but they might have a different quantum number. This is called as a degenerative degenerative energy level, or represented as GD1 and D2. Okay, so if I say, or I can say that it is the number of sub energy levels. Okay, so if there is one energy level, if there is only one energy level, which means the sub energy level values is one, number of sub energy levels is one, implies I can say the value of GD1 is equal to GD2 is equal to 1. So if you have sub energy level only 1 in both E1 and E2, then I can say the value of GD1 and GD2 is equal to 1. Okay, so this is degenerative energy levels. We will come across this in multiple times, but just understand that this is the different sub energy levels in our normal energy level. Okay, now let's divide into N1 by N2. So N1 by N2 is equal to, so you can make use of this equation. N1 is GD1 e raised to minus E1 by KT by GD2 raised to minus 2 by KT. Okay, so you can write as GD1 by GD2 multiplied by e raised to minus E1 by KT by e raised to minus E2 by KT. You can bring this whole thing up by making this positive. Okay, so this is actually e raised to minus E1 by KT multiplied by e raised to plus E2 by KT. Fine, so I can write this as GD1 by GD2 into e raised to minus of E1 minus E2 divided by KT. Okay, because e raised to minus theta into e raised to plus theta, or e raised to minus theta 1 into e raised to plus theta 1 is to minus theta 1 plus theta 2. So I just took the minus sign outside. That's all. Okay. Now we know that when there is some kind of a transition between these two energy levels, either the photon should be absorbed or a photon should be emitted. So if photon is absorbed, then it will have an energy h nu 1. If photon is emitted, it will have energy h21, which is same, right? So I can write this equation as this is equal to GD1 by GD2 e raised to minus. So the difference between the energy levels is basically this h nu, right? So I can write this as e raised to minus h nu 1 2. Let's say this is absorption. This is KT. Okay. So the ratio of the population in higher energy, lower energy level to that in the higher energy level is equal to GD1 by GD2 multiplied by e raised to minus h nu 1 2 by KT. Fine. Now K is the Boltzmann's constant. And T is the temperature in Kelvin. H is the Planck's constant. Right? Okay. So we might need to reuse this equation after some time. So please make note of this relation. So let's number this equation as 1. Okay, fine. Now we are going to find the relation between the rates of absorption in terms of this equation. We have already seen that in one of the classes where we found that we can relate the carrier lifetimes of spontaneous emission or rates of transmission, etc. Okay. We are doing a similar one. Okay, fine. Now, in these two energy levels, E2 and E1, there are multiple possibilities. If you incident by a photon, the electron or the charge carriers can absorb the energy, move to a high energy state. Okay, and there might be some other electrons which may come down by spontaneous emission, giving you a photon, or an electron can come down to low energy state because of incident of a photon, giving out two electrons or two charge carriers, which is called as a stimulated emission. So there is a absorption happening. There is a spontaneous emission happening, and there is a stimulated emission happening. So these three are happening in any semiconductor or in any atom. Okay. Now let's start with absorption. So the rate of absorption rate is proportional to the number of charge carriers or the population of charge carriers, and also proportional to the radiation density. Okay, we did not ask rho f. Okay, so let me explain that. So if there are more charge carriers, or if there are more number of charge carriers in the lower energy level, then once you incident a photon, the possibility that the charge carriers moving to high energy state is high. If you have less number of charge carriers, the possibility that the charge carriers moving to high energy state is low, because there might not be enough charge carriers to go to that high energy level. So always the absorption rate is proportional to the population of the charge carriers. Similarly, radiation density is, you can say, the number of photons incident per unit volume. Okay, so what do you mean by the number of photons per unit volume? It means that if you have large number of photons incidenting on the semiconductor, it means more electrons can absorb the energy and more electrons can move to high energy state. So the absorption rate will increase. So absorption rate is the number of electrons which absorbs the photon and move to high energy state per unit volume. That is the absorption rate per unit volume per unit time. Okay, so I can say the absorption rate from level 1 to 2 as R1 to AB is equal to the proportionality N1 into rho F. We have a proportionality constant called as V12. Okay, so this actually gives me R12 absorption is proportional to the product of N1 and rho F. Okay, to make the proportionality constant, we have a new coefficient which is called as B12, and this is called as Einstein coefficient for stimulated upward transition Okay, stimulated upward transmission is absorption. Okay, so this is our first equation, where we see that rate of absorption കൂടുന്നെങ്കിൽ കൂടുതൽ ഫോട്ടോൺസ് ഇൻസിഡന്റ് ചെയ്യണം, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ കൂടുതൽ ചാർജ് കാരിയേഴ്സ് വേണം. ഈ രണ്ട് കേസിലും കൂടുതൽ അബ്സോർപ്ഷൻ ഉണ്ടാവും. അപ്പം അതിന് പ്രൊപ്പോർഷണൽ ആണ് അബ്സോർപ്ഷൻ റേറ്റ്. അങ്ങനെ പ്രൊപ്പോർഷണൽ ആയിട്ടുള്ള കാര്യം അതിന് ഇക്വാലിറ്റി ആക്കാൻ വേണ്ടി we multiply with a constant, and that constant is called as Einstein coefficient for absorption. Okay, in a similar way, let's look at spontaneous emission. So the charge carriers from, or let's say electron from E2 comes down to E1 spontaneously. Okay, so what all things will make it happen? So there is no external simulation. So what is that which make sure that this happens? Okay, or what is that which decides the rate of spontaneous emission from level 2 to level 1? We call it spontaneous RSP21. Okay, that is proportional to the number of charge carriers in the high energy level. This is the population of charge carriers in E2. If you have more number of charge carriers, if you have more number of electrons in E2, then the possibility that it can come down to lower energy state is high. So higher number of electrons, more electrons will come down. Lower number of electrons, less number of electrons will come down. So that is proportion. And what else will it depend? It is inversely proportional to the lifetime, 1/21. Okay, where tau 21 is the carrier lifetime for spontaneous emission. Okay, so that means, let's say the electron have 10 microsecond of carrier lifetime. So once the electron reaches high energy state, that is E2, then it will take 10 microseconds to come down. Okay, and combine with the hole. Let's say the electron have 1 microsecond of lifetime, then it will take only 1 microsecond to come down once it reaches the high energy level. So you see that when the carrier lifetime is high, then it will take a longer time for the charge carriers to come down. So high carrier lifetime means longer time to recombine. But we need, so the rate should be like the number of charge carriers coming down per unit time. So rate is inversely proportional to carrier lifetime. So I can write this directly without any coefficient, because that is totally proportional. We can write as this is N2 by tau 21. This is equal to N2 into A21. This R21 spontaneous. So this is the relation where A21 is equal to 1 by tau 21, that is called as Einstein coefficient for spontaneous emission. Okay, so this is the next relation. We say that the spontaneous rate is proportional or is equal to the product of the population density of charge carriers in the high energy level and divided by the carrier lifetime in the high energy level. Okay, okay. Let's go to the next one, which is the stimulated emission. So in stimulated emission, I can write the rate as R21 ST is proportional to obviously the number of charge carriers in the high energy state, and it is also proportional to rho f. Rho f is the radiation density. Or radiation intensity. Or in other words, you can say this is actually the number of photons incident per unit volume. Okay, so high rho pf means more electrons acquire energy, or I would say more electrons jumps to E1 from E2. So that means it is of high rate. Okay, അപ്പം നമ്മൾ എത്രത്തോളം കൂടുതൽ ഫോട്ടോൺസ് ഇൻസിഡന്റ് ചെയ്യുന്നു അത്രത്തോളം ഇലക്ട്രോൺസ് E2 നിന്ന് E1 വരും. അതാണ് stimulated emission. So basically you can say that the rate of stimulated emission, that is number of electrons coming from E2 to E1 per unit time per unit volume, is obviously proportional to the number of photons incident. Okay, and also എത്രത്തോളം കൂടുതൽ ഇലക്ട്രോൺസ് ഹൈ എനർജി ലെവലിലുണ്ടോ അത്രത്തോളം ഇലക്ട്രോൺസ് താഴേക്ക് വരും. അപ്പോൾ ഇലക്ട്രോൺസ് കുറയും തോറും അതിന്റെ റേറ്റും കുറയും. Okay, so I can write R21 stimulated is equal to N2 B21 into rho f, and this B21 is called as Einstein coefficient for stimulated emission. Okay, so that is called as Einstein coefficient for stimulated emission. So I can write the total transition rate from E2 to E1 is, it can both stimulated and spontaneous emission can happen at the same time. So the total rate is RS1P plus, so RSP21 plus RST21. Okay, and at equilibrium, total downward transition is equal to the total upward transition. Okay, equilibrium സമയത്ത് എന്തൊക്കെ അബ്സോർപ്ഷൻ നടക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ അതിന്റെ റേറ്റും എന്തൊക്കെ എമിഷൻ നടക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ അതിന്റെ റേറ്റും ഈക്വൽ ആയിരിക്കും. So that the number of electrons and holes remains the same. Okay, that means I can say the absorption rate R12 is equal to the total of the spontaneous emission and stimulated emission. Okay, so we have a equation here. Let me number this as 1, which is for absorption, 2 is for spontaneous emission, and 3 is for stimulated emission. So the rate of absorption at equal to the sum of the rates of spontaneous emission and stimulated emission at equilibrium. Equilibrium എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ആ സ്റ്റേറ്റ്, ആ സെമി കണ്ടക്ടർ ഒരു സ്റ്റഡി സ്റ്റേറ്റിലാണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ആ ഒരു ആറ്റം എന്ന് പറയുന്ന സ്റ്റഡി സ്റ്റേറ്റിലാണ്. ആ സമയത്ത് സ്പോണ്ടേനിയസ് എമിഷനും സ്റ്റിമുലേറ്റഡ് എമിഷന്റെ സം എന്ന് പറയുന്നത് അബ്സോർപ്ഷന് ഈക്വൽ ആയിരിക്കും, അബ്സോർപ്ഷന്റെ റേറ്റിന് ഈക്വൽ ആയിരിക്കും. ഓക്കെ, സോ ദാറ്റ് ഈസ് എ ഇമ്പോർട്ടൻറ്റ് റിസൾട്ട്. Okay, so why it is important? I can substitute one, 2, and 3. You will get N1 rho F B12 is equal to N2 rho F, or I'll write for spontaneous first, N2 A21 plus N2 rho F B2. Okay, now let's bring this to here. So you will get N1 rho F B12 minus N2 rho F B21 is equal to N2 A21. Basically, we want to find out what is the expression for this rho F, or the radiation intensity. Okay, so I can write this as rho F into N1 B12 minus N2 B21 is equal to N2 A21. So I can write rho F is equal to N2 A21 divided by N1 B12 minus N2 B2. Okay, now let's divide numerator and denominator by N2 B21. So I get rho F is equal to N2 A21 divided by N2 B21 whole divided by N1 B12 by N2 B21 minus N2 B21 by N2 B21. Okay, this will become, so the value of N2 will cancel in the numerator. Okay, so I can write this as A21 by B21 divided by N1 by N2 into B12 by B21 minus 1. But we also know the values of N1 by N2, that is given from this equation number 1. Okay, so let's substitute okay, let me name this as equation number A because I have given already equation. This is A because I have already given equation 1 here. Fine. So substituting A, we get rho F is equal to A21 by B21 divided by B12 by B21 into GD1 by GD2 x e raised to minus H12 by KT. minus 1. Okay, so this is what the final, it's not the final expression. So rho f can be expressed in terms of the Einstein coefficients and the frequency, Boltzmann constant, and temperature dependence. Okay. Now we are going to do a small change wherein we are going to make an assumption or at thermal equilibrium this can be compared to a black body radiation system. So black body is where like the body doesn't transmit or reflect anything. Whatever radiation it comes, it just absorbs. That's called as a black body. Okay. And Max Planck has derived an expression for the radiation intensity of a black body radiation. Okay. So Planck has derived the expression for radiation intensity of black body system. Okay, and it is given by rho f is equal to 8 pi hf cube by c cube multiplied by 1 by e raised to hf by kt minus 1. Okay, just raised to minus hf by kt minus 1. Fine, or it is to plus. Okay, okay, I think I made one mistake somewhere. Yeah, so in this one I wrote as e1 minus e2. So if I put it as e raised to e2 minus e1, then it will be positive. So it will be positive here. Okay, so I just changed the sign. That's all. It's not a mistake. Right. So I can write. So this is plus h nu 1 to by kt. Fine. Now if you compare rho f is equal to a21 by b21 all divided by b12 by b21 into gd1 by gd2 multiplied by e raised to h nu 12 by kt minus 1. Okay, then you can see that a21 by b21 is equal to 8 pi hf cube by c cube and b12 by b21 into gd1 by gd2 is equal to 1. Okay, or I can simply write b12 is equal to gd2 by gd1 into b2. Okay, and these relations are called as Einstein relation. Okay, so this is called as an Einstein relation. Fine. So the ratio of the spontaneous emission to the stimulated emission, you are getting one expression. Similarly, you can express the spontaneous emission and the absorption in terms of the degenerative states. These are called as Einstein relation. Okay, and you can also get the ratio of stimulated emission to spontaneous emission. So that is equal to stimulated emission. The value is RST21 divided by spontaneous emission is RSP21. We also already know these values. So this is equal to N2B21 rho F by N2A21. So the ratio of stimulated emission to spontaneous emission is B21 rho F by A21. Fine. So this I can write as, we already know what rho F is. So I can write as B21 by A21 multiplied by, the rho F value is A21 by B21 whole divided by B12 GD1 by B21 GD2 multiplied by e raised to h nu 12 by kt minus 1. Okay. And we have from this expression, that this ratio is equal to 1. So this is equal to 1, and this will get cancelled because it is the inverse. So, or it will get multiplied and it will become 1. So finally, the rate of stimulated emission to spontaneous emission is RST21 by RSP21 is equal to 1 by e raised to h nu 12 by kt minus 1. So that is the ratio of the rate of stimulated emission to the spontaneous emission. Okay. That we have derived the rates, how the spontaneous emission rate and stimulated emission rates are related. So this is called as the Einstein relations, and this is relevant when we look at lasers and LEDs, etc. Okay, so this, make sure you know this derivation. I think it has asked in one of the exams in the previous semester. It's not a tough derivation, it's a very simple derivation. Only thing is, the basic things should be clear where you derive this expression. Once you know this expression, then you know that the absorption rate is equal to the sum of stimulated emission rate and the spontaneous emission rate, and all these emission rates depends on the absorption or the density of population of charge carriers in the respective energy levels. You can just sum it up. You will have a proportionality constant for absorption and the stimulated emission. For spontaneous emission, the proportionality constant is the carrier lifetime. Okay, fine. And we finally derive the expression for radiation intensity, and we found out the ratio of the Einstein coefficient values, and we found out the initial relations, and finally we found the ratio of, I would say, the rate of stimulated emission to the rate of spontaneous emission. Okay, fine. So just go through the video. I'll upload the video lecture. and let me know if you have any doubts. If you have any doubts now, you can ask. Otherwise, I'll upload the video and you can ask them later. Okay, fine. So I think we are on time, and uh, please mark your attendance as present. And I'll try to upload the video beforehand, before the next class. Last two times I couldn't upload because I was a bit busy, and so I'll try to upload the next time. And yeah, so thank you for listening, and we'll see you the next time.